Let's see how hands-on equations can enable your students to meet this 4th grade math standard. The standard says, use visual models and equations to represent and solve word problems involving addition and subtraction of fractions. We will illustrate the process with an example taken from the Hands-on Equations Verbal Problems book. The problem says, half of a number increased by 8 gives the same result as the number increased by 2. Since we need to work with half of a number, we need a way to represent the whole number that makes it easy to show half of it. So the process we will use is to say, let two markers, one marker will represent half the number. Now from here we're ready to set up the equation. Half of a number increased by 8. Well, half of a number is 1 pawn. So we have 1 pawn increased by 8 will give the same result as the number. Well, the number is 2 pawns increased by 2. This then will be the pictorial equation representing the original problem. From here we could solve the problem by noticing that we have a pawn on each side. And since we have the same value on each side, we will be able to remove them. Okay, so I'm highlighting them to show that we have a pawn on each side. Now, if the students are using their physical game pieces, they could simply remove a pawn from each side. If they're doing the pictorial notation, they can erase or place an arrow above each shaded triangle. So I remove a pawn from each side. If this side is worth 8, this side is worth 8, but if this is a 2, the pawn is worth 6. So right now then, I have the value of the pawn to be equal to 6. But we haven't answered the question. The question is find the number. Well, we need to realize that the number was represented by 2 pawns. Therefore, what we need to say now is that the number is 12. We need to do the check. To do the check, let's go back to the original representation. We had half of a number increased by 8 is the same result as the number that was 2 pawns increased by 2. Now, if the pawn is 6, 6 and 8 is 14, 6 and 6 is 12, and 2 is 14, so the check will be 14 is equal to 14. You could also have done the check in the original verbal problem. If the number is 12, half of 12 is 6, increased by 8 is 14, and that gives the same result as the number 12 increased by 2, which is 14. So the approach we're suggesting to help your students meet this 4th grade standard using hands-on equations is to use 2 blue pawns in this example to represent the whole number, and therefore half of the number will be simply 1 pawn. Once the students have set up the equation, they can use their legal moves as usual. We have more examples to illustrate the process in the Hands-on Equations Verbal Problems book, and we have our training for teachers, which give plenty of practice using this approach. This is Dr. Henry Borenson. I hope this has been of help to you. Thank you.